Hey, good day, YouTube. Um, Small update and kind of recap of last year. But heard back from my doctor. No phlebotomy. The numbers are within our target range, and he says I'm a little bit anemic again. But if I am, I'm not noticing it. But by the numbers, I guess I am. The last time I was so tired for like 2 weeks that I don't know. And talked to the GI about this other medication. She didn't see any reason to give it to me right now because everything's in check, and she just didn't want me to have to take another pill. So I'll be doing some more research on that, and probably talk to her when I see her on this coming visit here in a couple months. But we'll see what I find. So far from the universities I've seen saying if you ain't taking them both, you're a fool. So I don't know. But I'll do some more research and see what I come up with and talk to her again. You know, if it's something that's not going to help me, I don't want it. I've been working hard to get off these leftover medications that I really don't need. And I'm down to only a few. And I think 6 or 7 pills now. That's counting just normal vitamins too. But so I'm happy with that. So we'll see. And check my iron panel again in a month, and see what happens with my ferritin. It's at 39.2, which is close to the target range you wanted, which is well within the bottom side of normal. But actually, I think I'm below normal on the bottom low side of it. But he doesn't want me to get anemic, that's for sure. So it's right there. If they did a phlebotomy, it could be too much, you know. And so we'll just check in a month, pull iron panel and see what's going on there. So I ain't got nothing until December 15th. So I guess it's like vacation. And I have to go see a rheumatologist in Medford. So I don't remember what time the appointment is, but it's an all-day dealio anyways. And I have to go see a rheumatologist to see if these high iron loading numbers have screwed up my joints, which is like one of the most common things it does, tax your joints. And it's kind of pretty much my only complaint right now, to tell you the truth. You know, I could be better. I could be better, but it is what it is. So this all started actually a year ago yesterday, Thanksgiving. And we made sack lunches for the homeless. And we went out to go find them and hand them out. And got like half of them, I don't know, handed out. I had to come home. And I fell down for one thing. and for no apparent reason. But after a few hours, we went back out and finished. But that was pretty much the start of it. So Thanksgiving. So it's been a year. And then the month of December, that found me in the hospital a couple times. And at some point in time, I'm not sure if it was December or not, but we had to go to Medford at nighttime. I think that might have been Christmas Eve, because I did have to go to the hospital on Christmas Eve. And I think that this hospital here, the local one, wouldn't help me. And we just had to leave. They wouldn't help me. And I think that's where we ended up, Medford. Quite the nightmare. But by then we knew we was going to have to advocate for ourselves. And I didn't have a doctor then. And so found out real fast, without that primary, you're really screwed. And so I never really paid attention to how medicine is set up, the insurance. But I know how it works now. And so it was the trip to Medford, and I still wasn't diagnosed with anything yet. They just didn't know what was wrong with me. And they actually kept telling me, oh, you know, everything on the blood test looks all right. We don't understand. I don't know what they were reading, but so the wife, she just started advocating, and she wasn't taking no for an answer. And so we're like, yada yada, or she is anyways. I'm in a wheelchair. I can't even walk. She has to push me around. And they get me in. They did a peritonesis. And they were nice enough. I didn't have to take a COVID test. And they were low on COVID test. They wanted to save them and left it up to the radiology team. And anyways, they let me in and drained me. But we were talking to the emergency room doctor, and the wife just told him the way it was, you know. I need a doctor, How do we get one? And so emergency room doctors, they're not supposed to do referrals. So he did. And he excused himself, I believe, and then he came back. And he had a name and whatnot written down and give it to the wife. And for the GI. And they called the next day. But we was already supposed to have had a referral like weeks before from the other hospital. And that didn't happen. They lied to us. But they called the next day, and we got set up to a phone thingy and video conference, whatever. And before I'd even seen my primary and yada yada, and then I finally got my primary. And my primary, I think I'd just gotten out of ICU, which that happened in January sometime. But that's when they just cramming all these drugs on me. And they caused the ascites is what they did. And that went on for 5.5 months. But it's back to advocating for ourselves. We're just like, we're not taking we're not accepting their answer. And the medication was one we had lots of questions about. And we asked them, and and it just doesn't make sense. I've said this way back in the beginning, after the doctor's appointment, we usually talk about it right then when it's still fresh, you know. And, you know, we just wasn't making sense. You know, ended up firing them. You know, I'm happy with the new one. But that 5.5 months, you know, now I found out, you know, the damage, you know, that can cause sucking all my protein out like that. But got over it. When I left ICU, they didn't really, I don't know, they didn't they didn't have a whole lot to say to me, really. But they led us to believe that I'd be lucky if I made it 6 months. Probably had less than that. So, you know, that didn't help none. And so now my anxieties, you know, it's, and so, you know, we just keep advocating, reading, educating ourselves, and finding the right doctors. And it all started feeling better. Like I said, you know, I don't feel that bad. My joints are screwed. That's most likely from the hemochromatosis. And which it is. And but I've come a long ways. So there's 6 months ran up, I don't know, almost 6 months ago. So there's that, you know, 5 months going on 6 months ago. And so here I am. And just got all these good tests back. Everything they could test me for, you know, is the best, you know, is the best it can be, except for the liver. And all the other bits and parts in there, they're all right. There's lots of stuff downstream of the liver that can be affected: pancreas, your bile duct, your kidneys, your spleen. I think that's about it. I think for downstream, you know, all those can be affected. And then number one would be liver cancer. But all clear on all that, you know, no signs, no nothings. And so it gives me hope, you know. I know my doctor told me, my GI, she told me a while back, she's told me more than once. And she just said, you know, I'm not really as sick, as bad as I feel, however she worded it. You know, she's like, you're not knocking on death's door. And she just keeps saying that she has patients that make it 10 years or more without the transplant. And another thing she's told me a couple times too is you won't die from your liver. And so that's why they do the checks downstream. They do the abdominal scans and whatnot. It'll cause effects somewhere else in my body, and that would be the death of me without the transplant. So your actual liver, I don't know if anybody actually really dies from it, to tell you the truth, the way she talks, but I get what she's saying. And so everything looks fine, you know, to a point. And so, you know, I don't know what to think. Could be years. You know, my MELD score didn't change, and which is a good thing. But also, just no transplant without it changing and going up and getting worse. It's just the way that works. I was just watching this little thingy from Texas, their transplant team there. And if you do what he was talking about, the MELD score, and how certain conditions can add some numbers to that MELD score to bump you up. And he said if you get cancer, liver cancer, that they automatically will bump your MELD score by 22 points, And so if you're already sitting at 10, they give you extra 22 points, you're at the top of the transplant list at 30, over 30, 32. And so that puts you right up there at the top. Don't want none of that stuff, but so that's kind of where we're at, Been a long road, long journey, learning a lot, teaching the doctors, arguing with the doctors, the same with the nurses. I watched this series on YouTube, and it's about patients that survive cancer. And they all are telling their short little story, 5-8 minute long little videos they all made. But they were talking about advocating for themselves too, and having to tell the doctor what to do. We just can't do it. It's like, we can't treat ourselves. But here I am teaching the doctors, and I'm gonna have to teach my new one some. He's not familiar with the transplant team, and when I asked him if he'd call in a comprehensive blood test for me here last month so I could get a fresh MELD score number, he wouldn't do it, yada yada, and he kind of said something about the transplant team, and I just said, well, yeah, we're in contact with them, they know who we are and we know who they are, and he was kind of like surprised, and it was no biggie. We just called the GI, and it was a done deal, no problem. I know what you're looking for. So I'll just pull one of those like every 6 months. I guess they're going to do the abdominal scan every 6 months. That's fine. The registered nurse that does those, she's really cool. It's no big deal. They just scan around on your belly. You don't have to do anything, just lift your shirt up, But every 6 months I'll do that. And then she'll pull upper GI every 6 months too. And she does that because of the portal pressure. Everything that's downstream, it comes back around and it goes to our liver, where it's supposed to drop off protein, vitamins, and stuff like that our body needs. And it's not dropping those off. And the portal vein is the one that runs back up to your heart, and it affects your esophagus. And so basically it's varicose veins, but I don't have any. She banded one the first time, it wasn't even crucial really. She flat said she banded one just because I live so far away. She's already got the thingy crammed down my throat, just puts a band on them, and that's that. Stays on. It's just like a Pedizo too, I swear. Stays on for a couple of weeks, and then you just swallow it. You don't even know. They're really super small, and you can't even tell they've done anything. But so those two every 6 months ought to be the early detection signs. And other than that, I'm trying to get in on this exercise bit, and doing the best I can. But I'm gonna have to get something for my joints, that's for sure. I'm not taking the pain pills anymore. I can get by without them. But they've got some other stuff they can use for your joints. So we'll see what happens. That's coming up in December 15th. Of course, I'll get my Abby's Pizza and spend all day on the road. Hopefully it won't be snowing in the passes or anything. We got a couple we have to go over. No biggie. Snow tires and four-wheel drive. But that's where I'm at today. 1 year. And I spent some time just in the wheelchair. Wife pushing me around everywhere. I couldn't sit in the truck. I had to lay down in the back seat, At every appointment I had to do that. And I had to wait for her to get me a wheelchair, and it wasn't good. It just wasn't good. Now I'm good. I can do all those things. I just need to add some strength. I need to bulk up some, but it'll come in time. It's just kind of rough right now, but I don't think I really have anything else. Like I said, nothing going on until December 15th. Have to go up and take a PEth test at the start of December, but that's just a blood test for the GI, no biggie. And that's just once a month. But no phlebotomies. Kind of curious to see what my ferritin numbers will be in a month. And if they're not too bad, and the other numbers are okay, I'm not slightly anemic anymore, I'll just start going to the Red Cross. And donate my blood there. So they just started accepting blood from people with hereditary hemochromatosis. They just started it like last month. And you could actually get a doctor's script to take to the Red Cross. And if you need them like once a week, like I was doing. But if I'm just going to be in maintenance mode, he's probably only going to, like maybe a pint every 2 to 3 months. And then just track the numbers, But if I do the Red Cross, at least it's free. And the blood can go to help somebody. And so my blood's good to go. I can donate it. And when I run up here to the hospital, I guess not the hospital, but the other hospital, when I head down to Southern Coast, and the only thing they do is pull a phlebotomy, $490, and they just take my blood and dispose of it. Because I asked them, what are y'all gonna do with my blood? And they just said, throw it away. We have no way of dealing with it. And I just thought that was like the craziest thing I've ever heard of. Don't you have a blood storage bank at the hospital? I don't know. But $490 to crazy at Red Cross free. So we'll see if that works out. And you know, just a bonus. Someone can use my blood, and it doesn't cost me $500 bill, you know, to give my blood away. You know, it's like, holy heck, $490. You know, it certainly can't cost that much to donate, you know, a pint of blood. I can't even see $490 worth of anything to have that done. But that's what it is, you know. Needle in the arm, fill the bag up, squeeze the little ball, and go home. But I don't know, just keep trotting along. GI said just keep doing what I'm doing, you know. Try to eat decent, try to eat some protein, you know, stay high protein, low sodium, which I am doing. And definitely got plenty of protein yesterday and leftover protein today. But salt's easy to stay away from. But, you know, can't go without it either. Like I said before, I learned that the hard way. They actually told me no salt, you know, and I actually did that. You know, back to the hospital. But, I don't know, salt the plate, you know, not the pan. I mentioned that, you know. And I just don't eat that much processed salty food. Just don't. And I don't put it on any of my food myself. Just pepper. And then protein, you know, chicken and fish, lobster and crabs, you know, stuff like that. But I don't know, feeling positive. You know, knowing my luck, you know, I'll be sicker than a dog in a week, you know, back in the hospital or something. But, you know, actually I don't feel too bad. I don't feel like doing a whole lot, but I don't feel too bad. You know, I just kind of like just enjoying life, I guess. I don't know. Lots to think about, lots to watch. Takes a lot of time to advocate for yourself. A lot of reading, watching a lot of seminars from the teaching universities, taking notes so you know what to tell the doctor. Because if you don't do it, they won't do it. I've learned that the hard way. And don't accept their answers. When you know they're wrong, don't accept it. And that's what happened on the ascites ordeal. And we both knew they were wrong. Me and my wife both knew it. We talked about it a lot. We're just like, you know, they're causing this, you know. Take it back to them, you know. Can you please look into it? You know, it's just like the albumin infusions. You know, I had to argue for a long time about the dosage. It's just like, you're just not giving me the right dose. I mean, really, it's right here in black and white, you know, and you want to read it on my phone, you know. And when I finally did, you know, this is like already a couple months in, they're like, oh, the albumin should take care of all this, you know, just a couple times and we'll be done. And no, you know, it went on for 22 weeks. And, you know, I did the same thing, telling them, you know, the dose ain't right. Please check, you know. It's just not right. And they did, and they upped it, you know. But since they were causing the ascites, the albumin wasn't really helping at all either, because it wasn't happening naturally, which is actually a good thing, you know. And that's what the GI was worried about, was the amount, you know, every week, you know. That's not a good sign. And I didn't know that at the time. And we talked about putting in that shunt and whatnot, but it was just medication. So since it was just caused by the medication, it wasn't as bad as if it's happened naturally, you know, naturally occurring, which it does, but I'm not to that point. So it's been, I don't know, at least 4 months maybe since I've had a peritonitis. I think it's probably right around 4 months, and let me tell you, that's really nice. You know, that was 3 trips a week, you know, to lab, you know, to, you know, the Rona test crap, you know, then down to get drained, and then over to the infusion center. Yeah, you know, at least it was local, you know, but that would take up Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, you know, and Thursday usually. You know, it's like every day I had to go do something, and then they just sucking the protein out of me. So we have learned a lot. We don't trust that much anymore. You know? Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. So anything we do, we research, and we don't stop. You know? I won't stop until I get a new liver. And just something weird I ran across today in my searching too. It was this liver transplant they did on this guy, and he had some sort of autoimmune disease that it's destroyed his liver. He lost like 90% function in it or something. So anyways, it come time and he's pretty much on his deathbed, and the doctors came in and said, "Hey, we have this liver, but it's infected with Hep C." And he told the guy, he's like, "What we can do," he's like, "we can transplant because it's a match, and then we can cure your Hep C." And so the dude is like, went for it, you know. I would have went for it too. So the dude's like, "Well, yeah, let's try that." And so they took away his dead liver, gave him a diseased liver back, they cured that disease, and the dude was up and about in 2 weeks, man. In a month, everything was all kosher. His transplant had all healed. It only takes a month for the transplant, and it's good to go. And I found that kind of interesting, you know. Give him a Hep C liver and just cure the Hep C. And I think those pills we got now cure it in 6 weeks. You know, it's a done deal. You know, it's gone. It's cured. It's an actual cure. But I found that interesting. It make you go, you know. But I don't know. Maybe we'll talk more. I've been reading and studying and watching a lot just on the transplant, but eventually, some point in time, hopefully, I'll be getting one of those, you know. But some interesting stuff out there, and some interesting studies going on. But anyways, I'm gonna jump off here, and I'll touch base probably in about a week, maybe next weekend, other than that, I don't really see, anything going bad. I don't see any dramatic improvement happening. I'm pretty improved from where I was right now. That's for sure. I'm up and I'm on my own. And I can bathe myself. That's always a plus. Tell you that. But yeah, I'll update in about a week, guys. And, again, appreciate the donations. There's always a link down there below to my PayPal. It's always most appreciated. Goes to my medical care. Most helpful. And, until next weekend, you guys be safe, stay healthy. And that's it, man. Peace out, guys.